reflections on the game overall tonight, Peter?
Well, I was a little bit disappointed with the way Napoli set up first and foremost, but obviously getting the goal, it looked like a masterstroke, but they both came out second half. It was a better game. Messi started turning it on second half, started turning the screw, and I think they looked like they could go on and win the game. But Napoli is still in it.
That first half really disappointed me.
Yeah.
I can understand why, I suppose, Napoli would be a little bit standoffish. There's always that fear of Messi and what he can do to you, and they've obviously protected that. But I just felt like this was the time for them. If they're going to be of any chance in this tie, I just felt like at home, get that stadium rocking. And I always felt that when they got in their faces and actually made life difficult for Barca, Barca never really had the answers from a defensive point of view, and that's really simple, really. How the goal was created in the first place. It was a simple ball through, and you give players like Dries Mertens this type of space and time on the edge of the box. It's no coincidence he scored 121 goals for Napoli. So, as Crouchy said, there's opportunities there for them if they're just a bit braver at the Nou Camp, I think.
This goal sort of summed up how lazy and sluggish I thought Barcelona were in the first half. I mean, it was better in the second half, but I just felt if Napoli had really, really gone for the jugular right from the kick-off with the home crowd, I felt they could have done better than the draw.
But we don't know where Dries Mertens is going to be playing his football next season, but we do know that tonight we've seen history being made. Just a word on a man who's joint top scorer, 121 goals for Napoli.
I mean, look, it's remarkable, isn't it? It's as simple as that. I think what he's done under several managers under the Napoli regime, been a massive part of obviously their progression in being a team that qualified for the Champions League. Looks like they might fall short this year, but in previous seasons they've really been a huge part of the Champions League, and it's down to people like himself. Obviously, Hamsik was a big part of that as well, and Milik, who wasn't on the pitch today, but he has been a top player for them. It's as simple as that.
They'll hope that he's fit, looked after. He should be OK for a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that countless times. Kick the underside of someone.
It looks horrendous.
And yeah, it does look bad, but if obviously you break something, but that just looks like a really sore one.
That's a good sign, isn't it?
Couple of weeks. I mean, he's not done any long-lasting damage, and I'm sure he'll be back.
Your foot literally swells up in your boot.
Really?
As it's happening, you can feel the fluid, and it's just ice and compression in it for like the next 3 or 4 days, and you should be all right.
Oh, horrendous. Well, let's talk positively then about Barcelona. Not great in the first half, but they absolutely came alive in the second, didn't they? Griezmann, Messi turning it on.
They did. There was just, I mean, when I say turning it on as well, it was like the intensity just went up a notch.
Yeah.
It wasn't
not turning it on by their standards.
It wasn't
maybe
electric by any means, but it was just like you felt like Messi was a little bit, is in the mood a little bit more, and I think that's how the goal came about. Really, I think that it was just Mario Rui, the left back, just completely switches off here. We've got him highlighted, and he just gets caught ball watching. If you just look at him, he's not once knowing where Semedo is. He's just watching the ball, and that is all it took. It was organised throughout that whole first half. Somebody switches off, and then before you know it, it's a very good finish from Griezmann, Crouch. It's not an easy one, is it?
No, great finish that. Vidal's movement just sort of took most of the midfield out of it. It was a great ball from Busquets, and that wasn't easy. It looks like a tap in that, but it wasn't an easy finish from Griezmann.
Why not?
Very well. Why? Because the ball bobbled up and it was slightly behind him, and it was
his weaker
controlled
side
it really well. Yeah.
Chances for both sides in that second half. As you look towards the second leg, particularly the way that Napoli finished that first leg, they were going for it. Do you sort of sense that they will know 2-1 would have been a lot nicer for them? They were pushing for it, weren't they?
Yeah, of course they were. I mean, going to the Nou Camp and getting a couple of goals always difficult, because you know Barcelona are going to score in the Nou Camp. There's no way they're not going to. And yeah, they were going for it. They were pressing a lot higher, as we can see here. They won the ball much higher up. That wasn't happening in the first half, and this was their big chance. But you have to say the keeper came up so quickly there, and it was a difficult one for him. He played very well.
Napoli can score in the Nou Camp. Obviously 2-1's more attractive. I still think they'll set up in a very kind of rigid way and try and protect for large periods of the game.
Will they do what they did tonight, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I don't think there's any point in really opening up straight away. No. You're up against it in the Nou Camp. I think he'll set up exactly the same, try and play counter-attacking football. And look, they've been conceding goals, Barca. They are by no means solid at the back. And with that front three, it's about picking your times. And I think if they just keep it tight for 70 minutes or so, they only need one, and it's just about kind of picking their moment.
Yeah, the only disappointment was for me was they played like the away team tonight at home, and I just felt if they had come out, got in Barca's faces, I think the game was there to be won because Barca didn't look on it in the first half.
They did against Liverpool, didn't they?
They showed much more respect to a Barcelona team that isn't quite at the level they should be than they did at Liverpool.
Yeah.
They came out and played against them.
Mentioned that different managers, didn't we, as well?
Yeah,
That's probably the reason, but still, we expected more.
When it went 1-1, they suddenly started pressing Barcelona, and the two of you were like, oh, why didn't you play like this from the start? But will Gattuso reflect on this and go, actually, that was perfect for us tonight. We dug in at the beginning. When we needed to, we pressed them a bit, and we've got enough of a hope to take back to Spain.
Look, it was the way that he wanted his team to play. There's no doubt that they seemed to execute the plan. There was a clear plan in place. I think he'd be really disappointed with the goal they conceded because it was a pretty simple goal in the end. I don't think he'll be confident. It's difficult to be really confident going to the Nou Camp at 1-1 and having to at some point open up to go and score.
Well, they have to score, don't they?
Correct. So they've got to open up at some point. But I think he obviously, he's pleased with his team's performance from what I saw after the game with his response. OK, right, we're going to hop out and take another very quick break. When we cut back, we'll continue the conversation about this game, but also turn our attention to Chelsea this evening. Look, it wasn't a good night for the Blues, but if you haven't seen it and you want to know exactly what went on for Frank's side, stay where you are. After the break, we'll show you a really difficult and disappointing night for Chelsea that perhaps already sees them out of the Champions League.